What's up, everybody? We're back for another Impact Attack here on the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel, as well as the Pod. Oh, no, not Podbean. We're not on Podbean anymore. Colin, you should not say Podbean. We are over at Patreon, patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. This show's for free. Soon to be on the Realm Show, Realm Network. It'll be free.
He's had a week off, guys. Give him a break.
Yeah, sorry. I was in New York hanging out with Big Ray, hanging out with Billy Ray Valentine and his lovely wife, and Big Ray and his lovely wife. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. You held down the fort. I'm very, very proud of you, Vet, holding down both forts, NXT and the Impact Attack. Now, I was in the hotel room watching you guys. Actually, both nights I got to kind of watch. I got to watch some NXT and I got to watch some of the Impact Attack that you guys did. So, but no further ado, let me introduce my co-host here, the Vet. Vet, I guess we've already been talking, but how are you doing this evening? You did not melt in the 108-degree heat that you were talking about earlier.
I'm fucking hot, man. That's how I'm doing. But you know what? Can't complain too much. Surviving. Yeah, I was holding down the fort, and I was just happy to learn that you really took my advice to heart when I say when you're going to make a substitution, it's got to be of equal or greater value. And you came through. You got me the big dog. Not Roman Reigns, not Madison Rain.
Not Madison Reigns, not Moose.
But the Ben Ha Rain.
The Ben Ha Rain.
Yeah, so what's up, Wolfers?
Ayatollah.
What's up, Spaceman? Society Reviews is not a fan,
chat.
but he's here.
He's a fan of me, just not a fan of you.
Just a fan of you, not a fan of me.
Uchiha is also in the chat. He said "Ya Allah" earlier, I think, before you came in.
All right,
they were pre-chatting it up before we started the show.
So glad to see everybody doing well. Hopefully, we'll get a few more as we go on. But Colin, why don't you catch everybody up on your adventures this weekend? You took a trip to New York. How many times have you been to New York?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3 times now. 3 times. Each time, well, not the first time, but the last time that I went to New York, it was wrestling related, as the old network that myself, the Andrew Bello, Fame Black, CEO Hayes, we did this thing where for 2 WrestleManias in a row, we met once in Philly and got an Airbnb and hung out and watched WrestleMania, NXT, and all that stuff that weekend. And then the following year, we got an Airbnb in Coney Island, and we hung out and we watched NXT and WrestleMania and stuff like that in New York, and had made a little fun out of it or whatnot. Well, this past time, I got to come up for Big Ray's wedding. So again, congratulations to Big Ray and his lovely wife Jen. Finally,
he did it.
Finally, he did it. And while we were there, I got engaged myself to Vet.
Oh, you did it.
I did it. I did it by design.
By design. It was
by design.
By design.
It was all by design. We did a horse and carriage ride, and we went through Central Park, and went right down by the lake that's there, and you know, literally like the water is like inches away from me, and I got down on one knee and proposed, and now the Fiend. I'm engaged to the Fiend, as Big Ray likes to call her.
I like it, man. It's a little, you know, some things are cliche for a reason. You know what I mean? Because they work and they're good. So that's a cool little proposal set up there, and I guess she said yes based on your.
She did say yes. Okay. I mean, how can you? You know, you got to feed a horse carrots. You got to ride through Rockefeller Center on a horse and carriage while like people stopped and stared at you and took pictures. You know, like you made a spectacle of it. You can't. Who would say no?
Yeah, and then you're just like, after all that, you're just like,
you could have done this.
Not really.
Could you not? Could
this.
She would have been the one that would have been like, could you have just done it at a basketball game or a baseball game?
Right. Yeah, that's the typical the guy way, right? So.
But if you're ever in New York, Big Ray puts this place over. Definitely go and check out Mary O's. They had the reception there. and the lady that runs it, Mary, she like cooked everything. She was there, hands on. Like she is awesome. Just go down there and check her out. I'm sure she would hook you up if you said, "Hey, Big Ray told me to come here." You know, she would definitely know because Big Ray goes there. Like I think he told me he's been there twice a month for the last 7 years. They go to Mario, so you know he's a big patron there, and they of course did his wedding. They make an awesome shepherd's pie. Are you a fan of shepherd's pie, Bet?
No, but I don't know if I've eaten a shepherd's pie, so I'm not gonna
Oh
say
man,
I'm.
you're missing out. It's like the mashed potatoes are there, the meat and the vegetables are there. It's a British delicacy apparently, but
Mhm.
it is or maybe an Irish delicacy. I don't want to offend the people
Somewhere in
over in the
Europe.
UK. Yeah, somewhere over there on that island where Ireland and the UK are. But it's a delicious, very delicious, and that's what she does really well. And it was great. The chicken tenders are also excellent.
Right.
Um, and then we went to the ice cream museum. So I hung out with Billy Ray Valentine and his wife, and me and the Fiend. We went to this museum of ice cream. Then we went to this Italian place called Parm.
Hmm.
Definitely check that place out. It was dope. The chicken parmesan is big enough to feed two people, and it's excellent. And the garlic bread that they have there is also top notch. It
All
was
right.
it was definitely one of those hole in the wall places that you wouldn't expect to be awesome like that, and it was dope.
Well, hole in the
Um,
wall places usually are.
that
Society
is
wants to
true.
know: did you do any one bite pizza reviews?
No, I didn't do any one bite pizza reviews, unfortunately. We did get
No, you son.
99-cent pizza one night. She got like three. So I ended up getting the $40 pastrami sandwich at Katz's. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't want anything, so she got literally the 99-cent pizza that like almost every block has like the little inlet booth where the guy just has the pizza and he puts it in the oven. That's where she got her pizza that night. And she got
So
a
that
beef patty. The beef patty was really good.
that sandwich was literally $40.
Yeah, no, well, so the sandwich is 20 something.
Okay.
So then I got like a pint of potato salad, um, and then four sodas. So that came out to like $40 basically.
Yeah.
The majority of
Man.
it being the sandwich.
Well, you could.
But
Yeah.
it's like a
Right. I
pound and a
mean,
half of pastrami, and having worked in barbecue, like I get like a pound of brisket is roughly $20 where I used to work. So I get like a pound and a half sandwich like that, and it's pastrami, and they literally pull the thing out in front of you out of the little pit and cut it right there in front of you, and they give you samples. If you've ever been to Cat's Deli, it's definitely a tourist attraction. That's where they can get away kind of with
right.
those prices. But I ordered the sandwich, and the guy cut some of the pastrami off, put it on a plate, and we could taste it. Like, so you're getting it super fresh. And I
Right.
mean, it was a big sandwich, Vet. I'm talking like when I pulled
Well,
it out
it
of the bag, it was like this.
it better be damn near a party sub for $20. I don't care if it's in New York or a tourist attraction, but I mean, if anybody was going to put a pound and a half of meat in their mouth, it was going to be you for sure.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. It was
um,
delicious.
yeah, all right. Well, I mean, for $40, you could have got like what 8 Little Caesars pizzas, but I mean, that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
Yeah,
garbage though.
there's 8 of them though.
But that's still it's terrible pizza. I wouldn't put that in my mouth.
I mean, you get what you pay for. So yeah. And the wedding went all right. And how was
Everything went
the?
okay. They
Well, how did you object, and then how did they shut it down once you
well
objected?
they had a gentleman hold me down and just like cover my mouth the whole entire time, so I was unable to object.
He's just on the ground screaming, "Moose!
And then
Moose!"
once they got past that part, they let me free, and then I was able to enjoy the rest of the ceremony. But yeah, I was screaming moose. That was my ejection
Yep.
by the
8
power
face
vested
slaps
by
from
moose.
Hameen too. That's another way to spend $40, Wolfers. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think for $40 is I'd trade the 8 slaps. Just be like, all right, just give me one punch. I think that would be worth
A
it.
working punch or a real punch?
A shoot punch.
A shoot punch?
Yeah. I think a shoot
I don't.
punch would be. I'd rather take a shoot punch than 8 slaps.
The face slaps are more fulfilling for the soul, not necessarily for the belly, like the the pastrami sandwich was.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anything else to add about your New York adventure, or?
No, that was it. That was it. We came back on the train. Train was like an hour late somehow, but I mean, train travel. You're gonna get that pretty much anywhere. You travel by an airplane, you travel by train.
Right.
You know,
And then
you're gonna deal with hiccups.
Yeah, and then I saw you did a show with Rad Rob too, talking
I
about GI
did.
Joe recently.
I did.
So
We talked to. It's going to be on his retro show. I think I don't know if the live is still up. It might still be up there.
it's up.
You can check that out. We definitely talked to GI Joe and a bunch of other things. You know, we talked about it. It's there for you to go watch, go check it out. I'm totally forgetting to plug all this stuff. Vet, thank you.
I'm just, I mean, we could have done it at the end, but
We could
I don't
have,
want to
yes.
forget because by the end of this, I usually have a tendency to forget. So
That's true.
while it's fresh in my mind, I wanted to mention it in case anybody else is interested in checking that out.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And from his perspective, being a guy who's a Turtles guy, I mean, I get it. I was a Turtles guy too, but I from my perspective is like, why isn't GI Joe kind of getting that same recognition as like Turtles or some of these other retro things that are getting put out there? Like, you know,
Well, it's for one thing, it's kind of the appeal somewhat limited because you gotta like it's definitely the boys cartoon, whereas I think Ninja
there were
Turtles
strong
was
females though. There were
Ninja
strong
T-
females and
listen, man,
Lady
just,
J, Scarlet,
I know.
all strong
Okay, I'm
females.
getting to a point here. Just wait a second. Okay, I know you've been gone, and I've had enough of talking, but I was just gonna say that I think that Turtles is for boys too, but it's got kind of an appeal for everybody. I don't really know that the girls were like the girls when I was kids, in school and stuff. They weren't into GI Joe, and they wouldn't have watched it to know that Lady J and Scarlet and Baroness and stuff were like the strong female. You'd have to watch it to know what kind of characters they were, and on the surface of it, it just like a bunch of army stuff. So
Yeah,
I think maybe that's where like, whereas Ninja Turtles was like, yeah, more for boys, but I could see girls were still into it a little bit because it's still colorful and fun.
Not the characters, the character work. Sergeant Slaughter. Come on,
Sergeant
man.
Slaughter. Yeah,
Slaughter.
I mean, I think that GI Joe does get the recognition. I was surprised to hear that you feel like it doesn't.
I feel like it doesn't. No, I see a lot more stuff for Turtles out there than.
Well,
GI does, really.
well, you know why though? Because the Turtles have never gone away, ever.
That's true.
They've been in some incarnation on television and toys and everything. Like they've never had to have a revival. You know what I mean? They never had to put out retro toys because they always have new toys, and so like the Turtles have never really left the eye of pop culture, whereas some things like from the 80s, like He-Man, GI Joe, even GI Joe had a run well into the late 2000s. Like, when I was working at a toy store.
Well, what are your thoughts on the toys too? Because that was where I said the superiority of the GI Joe toy. Why did they stop making toys like that style toy with the all the articulation and everything like that? With the rubber band waist, and you could like interchange the parts and things like that.
Yeah,
you used to work in a toy store. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not sure.
Choking hazard, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I remember that when I was a kid, I think the excuse that my mom didn't want to get me GI Joes was that they were like cheaply made. But I think that was just a cover up because she didn't want to get me into like I was already into the Masters of the Universe whole thing and the Ninja Turtles.
There's a whole other thing she's got to spend money on.
Yeah, she didn't want to go down that route, so she made up an excuse. But I still had some. Like I had Zartan with the where he would like change color, like if he was in the sun. Remember that?
Oh yeah. He-Man. See, He-Man's getting the love too. I think I called out Masters of the Universe too as one of the ones that gets the revival and gets the love a lot.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe was a little unique for its time because it was doing future tech with sword and sorcery, which I don't know if anybody else have really done that before. If anybody knows of something that predates Masters of the Universe that did that kind of thing, then let me know. But
heavy metal.
It's definitely that's a cool thing. But so for the GI Joe toys, like I didn't have like a lot of them, but they were really cool. Like the play sets were cool. If anybody that had the USS Flag play set that was like the size of somebody's entire den, like you couldn't fit it in a room. You know what I mean? Like that thing was massive. So I don't know whoever had that. But they had like all kinds of like cool toys and accessories and stuff like that. So like it was definitely cool. And what about the like on the this was a big thing back then, like where the card
Mm-hmm.
on the like it has the little profile. So you get the vital stats and like the background for all the characters. So you buy this toy, but they give you the backstory on the toy too. Like
Yep.
so if you're not watching the cartoon, then you still
You
you
can
see
kind of
this toy
follow
in the toy
along.
store.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes.
and I even said that they kind of modeled some of the stuff, like the Mortal Kombat toys that came out were modeled after like those GI Joes.
Yeah.
I mean, and
And
even
those,
the
they
cool
did a
dollar
Street Fighter
store,
run too. They
like
did
you
like
would
a
go to the dollar store. Yeah, the Street Fighter ones. Yeah, those were like the GI Joes too. And the you go to the Dollar Tree or like Walgreens or Rite Aid or whatever one you go to, and they have like the cheap ones, and they were like you could interchange them out if you needed just fodder for your the front line to get destroyed.
hmm
Um, but like I don't get why they people like enjoy these stiff like the Jacks. Think if the Jacks wrestling figures were
hmm
made like these GI Joe figures with like the articulation and the movement and the things that you could do. You could actually put guys like in Boston Crabs do like the stretch moves because of the rubber band waist, because of how like the toy bent and everything like that. Like it was a superior toy and they got rid of it. I think I said the closest thing they've had now to something like that is the Gundam models. They're not as flexible because they don't have like that rubber band waist, but they have all the articulation where like the wrist parts move, the hands move, everything like rotates in some way where it can move and pose naturally.
Well, I think there was articulation on GI Joes, but it was a little more limited than maybe. I mean, I'm sure you know exactly what the articulation was, so I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
more than you remember, but like it was still kind of stiff in ways. Like you
Oh yeah,
couldn't.
definitely. You couldn't move the feet. You could like bend them at the knee, and then the
Right.
waist, the hips had the joints, kind of with how they worked and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But they couldn't get past a certain point because the hip part, where the ball and socket joints
Yeah.
came in, like they couldn't go backwards to a certain point, or you know what I mean, like so it was more articulate. And of course, this is like a new variation, a toy line on the old, Barbie doll size GI Joe toys,
Yeah.
which is where it
'Cause that was the
originally came
original
from.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's funny, what's ironic that you mentioned that about all the articulation toys. There's a lot of the toys that have the most articulation are those like expensive boutique collectors action figures. The kind of stuff that you're not going to want to take out of the package.
Yeah.
Those have like finger joints and all kinds of stuff that you
Yeah.
can
You're
do with
leaving
them.
all that stuff
Yeah,
in the
and
box.
you don't want to touch it. So that's kind of like a funny deal. Spaceman's throwing out Thundar the Barbarian. I don't remember if that had like laser guns and shit like that in it though. Did it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember.
I
I
forgot.
I also kind of mentioned that they were like really the first posable toy that you would want to put out, and like they kind of entice you to take it out of the box because they had the pegs where the foot would and it would come with
Mm,
the little base so
mm-hmm.
that you could have something to stand them up on, so you could put like the weapons in their arms and like pose them and put them up on a shelf, because that was also kind of around the time when the sports little models came out. I can't remember what they're called. um what are they? What are the
The sports models.
yeah,
It's
the not
um.
the one, they're just like the statues that are super expensive.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's God damn, that's gonna bother me. I'll look
'Cause
it up. But anyway,
we
continue.
used to we used to have those, and like so they kind of came out around the same time. So we would take them out of the box too and like put them on our shelves and kind of have our GI Joes and like those, because we were Hornets fans, so we'd try to get like the Muggsy Bogues one or the Larry Johnson one. I think I had like a Hakeem Olajuwon one.
Hakeem Olajuwon, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was a big Hakeem Olajuwon fan. I think I'd also had a Charles Barkley one. I met Charles Barkley once. He was really cool.
He is cool.
He's a very cool dude.
Where'd you meet him at?
At the airport, he played for the 76ers, and they were coming in to play
Start
Charlotte.
starting lineup. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I think that's what they are, the starting lineups. Yeah.
I didn't find it. I'm still looking for it, but that just popped in my head.
Oh, maybe that doesn't show up as anything.
Yeah, starting lineup.
Is it the starting lineup?
Yep.
You can. I think you can share your screen if you want to.
No, I
Chat, let
can't.
us know if you remember what like the
I can't share our screen, but just when you Google starting lineup figures,
starting
they'll
lineup
pop up.
figures. I got you.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that was like
Oh
inspiring
yeah,
kids to
yeah.
create
This is exactly what it is. Yeah,
create
like
dioramas and scenes and stuff like that. It just to like people accuse like the cartoons of being commercials for the toys and just trying to create a racket to sell kids toys, and they did. But those that was like definitely more creative. It fostered some creativity because
some of these are expensive as hell.
oh yeah,
like
oh yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I know I had some of these. Like I'm pretty sure I had like I knew somebody that had this Jordan one that's like super expensive. Like, well, it's like $200, but it was out of the box and everything because we played with it.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
insane.
yeah, these weren't necessarily meant to be played with. These were kind of like made with collectors and displays and stuff in mind because, like you said, they're static. They're not posable. They had little stands and whatever and scenes, and they came with a trading card, I think, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was cool, but I don't know. Things is just a little bit different now. I look at the toys today, and they're kind of whack. It's all like they make. It's like they're still selling toys to people our age. Like when new toys come out. I just saw, like recently I've seen that they've completely recreated the real Ghostbusters toys from back then. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah.
those that came with a
Yeah.
little proton pack and a ghost and all that shit? And like they've completely remade those down to the package, like, and they're just selling them
Hmm.
like normal figures, but they're just like twice as much as they used to cost. They probably used to be $5. Now they're like 10, $11.
Most of them are like the two AEW action figures were $20 a piece. That's I mean,
Exactly.
how much are the WWE figures?
7, 8.
Yeah. So it's a
But
little
they're
bit of a
mass
racket.
produced, so it's like, you
Yeah.
can afford to be a little cheaper. The
I don't
AEW's got like a limited run, and they have to make limited runs of those type of things because they don't, when they make it, they don't know how many people is really going to buy it, so they don't
all
want
the
to.
stock boys get them, and I don't know how I found these in the wild like I did. The stock boys didn't do their jobs that day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know what? We have to eventually get to it. Vet, let's go on
I
ahead
know. I know.
and hop into this Impact Attack here on the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel. We're live. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck it.
We're live, pal.
So against all odds,
Against
our boy
all odds.
Moose, our boy Moose,
Our boy
against all
Moose.
odds.
It was they were all the odds were there, and they were all against Moose.
All the odds were there, but the gods were not there because
gods
our
were
boy Moose does not get back what is ours here at the Impact Attack.
I mean, did I tell you? I told you they weren't going to pull the trigger on Moose. I told you they weren't going to do it.
So
I
who
wanted
does
to
it?
be wrong.
When does it happen?
It does not happen.
It does not happen.
Moose will die without the Impact Championship belt.
Don't say that. That is
All
not
right,
is not what we want
gods
to have
never
our
die,
listeners know about here. Yes, we were talking about the Phil Collins pay-per-view.
Phil Collins
Wolf.
paper. Yeah, they
And-
could. They definitely couldn't have. If they can't afford lighting, they definitely can't afford the rights even for a one-time use for that.
Yeah, not even 6 seconds allowed of any of Phil
So-
Collins' music.
So I'll kind of like I'll talk about Against All Odds. There's not a lot to talk about. If any of you guys watched it or any parts of it, go ahead and give your thoughts too, because we're just gonna need a little bit more meat on this bone here because there's not a lot I have to say. I mean, we're gonna start out with the Good Brothers versus this. I'm gonna call this tag team. I think you'll appreciate this, Colin. I think I've decided to name this tag team Tommy Callahan.
Tommy Callahan, I like it.
Like from, Tommy
I
Boy.
like it.
Chris
I
Farley.
like it.
Big Tom Callahan's son.
Big Tom Callahan.
My dad'll fix everything, so I'm allowed to be a moron.
Now I gotta.
So,
You keep talking. I gotta get something
Okay.
for the Roadcaster now.
you gotta get some for the roadcast
I get
now.
some.
So this is a street fight. So of course Sammy Callahan's gonna chop somebody in it. But it was just kind of like it was there. At least there was no chin locks really. I didn't make a chin lock note, so I don't think they did any. But so Tommy Callahan goes over. Okay, now what? We don't know, and so we'll have
Gotta
to
go
wait.
sell brake parts.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like, what was the point of this match, right? Okay, then here this, because this is not like one of those. I guess this isn't one of the huger pay-per-views like a Slammiversary, so they're treating it just like TV because they do a rundown of the card after the first match the same way they do on the Impact episodes. And I don't really like it. If this is supposed to be a pay-per-view, even if it's a lesser pay-per-view, I think it should be different than TV. I don't think they should do the same things they do on Impact. It shouldn't just be a commercial-less Impact. Do you agree with that? Would you say?
No, I agree with you on that one.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Next is
The vet's opinion on this.
next with we got Joe Doring versus Kojima.
Moose is bigger than life.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. This is why New Japan doesn't send their superstars, because they don't want them to get jobbed out or whatever. Not to say that it really matters if Kojima does a job here, but you know, that's kind of I'm sure what the hesitancy is of them sending like a bigger name or like a current top guy or even like a guy that's on the periphery of the top, like an Evil or somebody, you know. They don't want to send one of their guys that could be a top guy and then just, oh, you're just going to lose to some, you know, cowboy. So that's
but he got his revenge. He got his revenge on the on Impact Wrestling.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
I'm sorry.
Rosemary wants all the belts in Decay. That's what she wants. Okay. Next is the car crash match. And the commentary's like, you know, the Madman Fulton does a run in towards the end, and you know, Josh Matthews, or I don't remember which one of them said it, was like, "What the hell is Fulton doing here?" You know, the classic, you know exactly. Well, the question is, why wasn't he there from the start? Like, if this is a no DQ multi-man match, why doesn't he just come in, beat everybody up, and then like throw Ace Austin on top of somebody? I mean, why do we even have to have the pretense of let's have a match for 10, 15 minutes, and then at the end the guy runs out, right? It's so
right.
So, but here's why. Here's what it ends up being, because they call it a no contest due to interference. Then when do you ever see somebody get disqualified in like a 5 or a 6-way match? That's not something they normally do, right?
No, that's so random. Usually there's no rules because there's like 5 or 6 people involved in the match.
And they're breaking rules the whole time during the match.
It's not like a tornado tag thing either, where it's like, all right, you just tag the guy in. Like, I mean, WWE's done matches like that, where it's like the 2 people, and if you get close to the ropes, the other guy might tag himself in or whatnot. I feel like I've seen stuff like that.
Yep. I mean, so they just make up whatever rules they want. No consistency. Next up, W. Morrissey versus Rich Swann. At this point, as I was watching
Rich Swann won this match.
I was this point I was nodding off a little bit, but it seemed like Morrissey whooped his ass. So that's all I have on that.
That's how that match should have gone. Like, how else would it have gone?
Pretty much. He basically gave Swann almost nothing from what I remember, and then went over. Next is Deonna Purrazzo wants Kimber to win or something. And then we get Tenille Dashwood versus Jordan Grace. Tenille slips over here. Then we get a vignette of another learning vignette for Soda Thompson. He's getting a lesson from Brian, and then Jake something walks by, and that starts something. Then we get the knockout tag team title match, the Moms versus Fire and Flava. My note for this one is yeesh. That's my note.
Yeesh.
Yeah. This time Hogan actually took the swanton from Kimber, as opposed to getting the knees up, which, if you remember, Colin, last week what I said about you know, if a fat chick ever says, I'll do the swanton, you get the knees up, you'd be like, I'll move.
No, I'll move. I'll roll. I'm good. I'll get up and get out of that one.
The old Harley race. What's your finish, kid? A swanton at the top. I'll move. So anyway, frog splash from Tasha, and this is over, thankfully. Well, let's do back-to-back tag title matches. You know, why not? This was I I was just bored during this. It was just nonstop stuff, no story, no structure. It's just people doing things that they've done before and seen other people do. Violent by Design won, if anybody cares. We get another Burt Macklin vignette. So he's done one relaxing with the Jameson that we saw, right? And he's done one where he's screaming like a madman. And this one was kind of in the middle. He seemed like he wasn't relaxing, but he wasn't, screaming his head off. So I don't know what to expect from this guy. Well, not yet anyway.
Not yet, yes.
Then we get the Knockouts title match. It's actually kind of a handicap match because it's Deonna Purrazzo versus Rosemary. And Rosemary's fighting Deonna and her own gear. Excuse me, it's Deonna that's fighting her gear. Because she had this cool new outfit, but she was constantly like adjusting the tit area because it was like gonna slip out, or she was afraid it was gonna slip out because it was so tight and low. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, so what that tells me basically is that she had this made without having any time to like really try it on and test it out. You know what I mean? Because you could make some alterations at the last second if you didn't feel comfortable in there. But she was so uncomfortable. She was constantly like adjusting. You know what I mean? And that was kind of weird.
Hairbrushing the ladies throughout the match. Yeah.
Kind of. What is Canada's just posting results? Hey, get the fuck out of here. I don't need that. I have all the results. So speaking of gear, Rosemary, so she's got this gimmick where she's like this weird whatever she is, right? It's something vaguely supernatural. And
she
weird,
didn't start the show.
No, and she didn't start the show. But she just has like a regular knee brace on. You know what I mean? Which is kind of like with all her presentation that she's got just like this regular knee brace. So
she's a bionic zombie.
Yeah. But it'd be all right like if you that's where you could like decorate it somewhat. Like she should paint it or whatever to look like a gnarled tree branch or something like wrapped around her leg. You know what I mean? Just like
she could probably get one made like that. It would look like that.
Yeah. Even if you didn't want to make a custom one, because not only would that be like expensive and we don't know how much they're getting paid, but also,
well, who made Black Taurus's mask?
I don't know, but he brought it with him, so he brought it with him. He didn't get it made in Impact, but
sorry, Black Taurus.
Taurus.
I can't have CMLL coming after me because I called him Taurus.
Yeah, or the Fiend. But so like at least you could paint something existing, like design it so it looks like it matches with your character. It's just a little thing I want to throw out there.
Then you shouldn't have said it.
Fair enough. And then we get to the Moose event. We got on it was I was speculating with Ben how they were going to do it, and they ended up doing it at Daly's place like they said they would, but they also this was separate from the rest of the pay-per-view, so it's like they kept showing establishing shots of Daly's place throughout the pay-per-view, and then
we're gonna be here live for the main event.
Yep, exactly. And then they get there, and like they have like a lot of the arenas,
like the entrance, like where they show the quarterback coming in, like Tom Brady's just entered the building, ladies and gentlemen. It's for the main event. Like they should have had them arriving to the arena like throughout the night, like, all right, Moose just got to Daly's place, Kenny Omega just got to Daly's place, and like kind of followed it, like give it that big fight feel, because of course they didn't shoot anything else there. They should have just like had it make it bigger than what it is. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't think they did the arriving thing. I think they just did shots, but it could have been cooler if they did it like that. And the way they had the people there was there was no actual fans. I think it was just the dark roster,
the Dark Order, and the normal people they have there for AEW shows.
Yeah, like I saw some of them.
The young lions of AEW had to stand around the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. So that means we had the commentary team was Tony Schiavone and Scott D'Amore, and then Don Callis joined after he came out with Kenny Omega there. Moose came out with his cool white and gold gear, And he had a cool robe too, you know, so he looked like, okay, this guy's somebody.
How he should
Uh,
look. He looked
right.
amazing. He
Mm-hmm.
looked moose-like.
How he always looks. This is Moose here we're talking about. Are you kidding? And then the fans started a "Moose is gonna kill you" chant, which was nice. So, couple notes. Kenny takes a bump on his own head, giving Moose a Rana, and then he almost doesn't fully rotate on his tope that he does to the outside. Luckily, Moose caught all of him, which that's an issue in AEW. You see a lot where guys will do a dive and then the people are like, I don't know if I want to catch that, and they
Yeah,
kind of
and
like
then don't. Yeah, no, they
bounce
just let him
off
go.
or just glancing blow or whatever.
I think
Well,
Billy
Moose,
Gunn did that to a guy where he was just like, "No, I'm gonna let you go straight through the ropes and blast right through."
right. And Moose was not like that. He did not want Kenny to die, so he made sure to block all of him with his body. I'm not sure if he hadn't hit Moose that he wouldn't have just fell on his head. Like, the physics of it seemed like... And I don't know why Kenny continues to do that move. And not only does he do that move, but he does it like where there's no room. Like, every time he does it, like, his legs hit the guardrail and there's not enough space. When he used to do that move in New Japan, they had, like, the ramp, and he would do it towards the ramp, so there was plenty of, like, open space out there. But a lot of times at AEW, he does it towards one of the sides,
Yeah.
and then the guardrail ends up hitting him.
Last thing you want to do is snap your leg on one of those guardrails, over rotating or whatnot.
Yeah, for what? For what? Like, is anyone gonna care if he doesn't do that dive? Is somebody like, man, I almost like that match, but he
Need that
didn't do
Meltzer
his
fifth star. You got to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, he owes Moose a big thank you for that. But other than Omega's standard parody of wrestling antics, this match was pretty good. They did a ref bump and a screw job finish, and then afterwards the lights go out, and then Sammy appears, and then Don Callis fires him, and then him and Don and D'Amore argue off, and that's how the show goes off the air. So that's leading us up into this episode of Impact. Yeah, like I said, I just knew that they would not.
What's up, Sonic?
Sonic joined. I knew they would not pull the trigger on Moose. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if there would have been a better time. I don't think there will. I think the time is as soon as possible. And then we can truly make, Impact.
Is Sammy the
Moose
guy?
show.
Is Sammy the guy?
That's what I'm afraid of.
Are they going to do a death match?
That's what I'm afraid of. But I don't know why they need to do that. If you want, look, here's the deal. If you want Kenny and Sammy to have a death match at some point, just have them do it. You don't need belts involved. It could be like, I took the belt back. I'm walking away from all this. Now you two have a personal issue you need to settle on your own time while I go do champion things. That's how I would do it, if that's what they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, we went through that pay-per-view like a meat cleaver through hot butter.
Yeah. But I mean, I actually agree with Spaceman because I really only like this match, and I think the Tenille and Jordan match was okay. It had to be okay because my only note was that Tenille went over. I didn't really make any criticisms or anything like that. It wasn't a great match. I'm sure I could have picked it apart. Maybe one day, Colin, if we ever get some extra time, we could do a watch along of some match, and then get like a real time scientific breakdown of.
We could do it in the Discord. I mean, we have the Hameen Media Group Discord still, and that's a great place to do watch-alongs. And I'm sure a lot of these guys watching right now are members in the Discord group. We used to do some watch-alongs over there. Everybody will have a chance to chime in and talk about it and everything. We could do that. Yeah, they're talking about her moose knuckle picture that she took. I'm very proud of the Streets of Rage picture. She looks like Big Ben from Streets of Rage. I figured that would pop you as a video game man yourself there, Vet.
I am. However, I will fully admit that I did not get the reference because I was not a Sega Genesis owner, and I never really, while I have played Streets of Rage, I don't know if I played them all the way through, and I don't know which one Big Ben was in, and I don't know that character.
Well, they usually, so he's a bad guy. and he's the one
Mm-hmm.
that breathes the fire. So any of the people that run through and breathe the fire, that's one of their guys. And like that's kind of the animation that his face makes whenever he's getting ready to blow the fire. Like he comes up with his big old puffy cheeks and then blows out the fire and runs across the stage. So they have like different colors of him and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Because they, that was the thing back in the day. They would recycle the same pixels. They would just color them differently
Yeah.
for whatever board that you were on.
Well, yeah, the Ondors from Final Fight. They had Grandpa Ondor and Uncle Ondor.
Final Fight
Yeah.
was so good. I could never get past the wrestler though.
The wrestler, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
the wrestler, the wrestler would always kick my ass, and I would usually lose right there.
it's probably because he was using swords, which is probably cheap. But I'll say this: the key is to put in more quarters.
Well, I played this on Super Nintendo. Didn't have to put in quarters.
And didn't they give you like limited continues on that version too? Like,
No, I don't think you had. No, because I think I don't. No, I think you ran out of continues on that one.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
and
so
they
only
didn't
I
have.
think you had like 3 continues, and then you
Yeah.
couldn't go along anymore.
Well, that was a shitty version of it. It didn't even have Guy in it, so
Final Fight was still awesome.
it was. Well, now you can get it as part of the Capcom Stadium collection. And,
I have Switch as well,
Yeah.
and I think it's on like the Super Nintendo game. I think one of them are, I believe.
Well, you want the arcade one. You want to get the original, and they have that on not only the arcade stadium thing, but they also have it as a part of what they call I think the beat 'em up bundle, where they got like a few of those like Captain Commando and stuff stuck in there with Final Fight. So they need to re-release the sequels like 2 and 3 that came out on Super Nintendo. That I don't think they've ever been reissued in any form. So it'd be nice to see like maybe a Final Fight collection one day.
I did download the free Ghouls and Ghosts, and I played some 1943. That was very fun. What are the games this month? I don't think I've downloaded anything.
The free games
Yes.
for Plus is I think it was Virtua Fighter Ultimate Showdown.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Star Wars Battle.
That's right, Squadron. Yeah,
Squadron. Yeah.
I need to get Streets of Rage 4. I got into Streets of Rage with 2, played 3, and then I got 1 and played the crap out of 1 because 1 was completely different, like the way that you did specials and everything. That one was really hard because you would fight the 2 Blaze sisters at the end of the level right before the boss level, and they were hard, like because they fought just like Blaze, but they jumped around the screen. They were so hard to beat. It was ridiculous. But I haven't played 4. I would love to play 4. I remember 3 had the guy with the old man with the mechanical arm. They brought back Skate. I enjoyed playing with Skate in number 2 as well. Streets of Rage was a solid franchise.
So here's the deal, right? Now Streets of Rage 4 I have played through. And one of the cool things about that is it has a lot of replayability, and you can unlock characters from older games, and they will appear as their pixel art in the new engine and graphics. So if you want to play Skate looking exactly like he did back on the Sega Genesis, you can do that.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, because I use Max a lot too. I would use Max and I would use Skate.
Yep, him too. So they're in there. So yeah, I would definitely get Streets of Rage 4. Just keep your eye and see if it's on sale again at some point, and then pick it up. So that's a pretty fun game, and we would do co-op. Maybe we could do a stream of that sometime.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, I have to get it for. Yeah, I have to see if I can get it for Switch.
Oh, Society Reviews doesn't. The Contrarian, ever the Contrarian. Streets of Rage 4 is pretty meh. I'm Society Reviews. I don't like Streets of Rage 4. I mean, I guess it's all right. Maybe for the hardcore fans, they don't like. So Wolfers is asking about Slammiversary, and I think Slammiversary and those like legacy pay-per-views are different. They treat that a little bit different than they do.
Yeah, they're like WrestleManias and like the big 4 in the WWE.
Yeah, these little Steven Seagal movie pay-per-views, they're not on like the same. They really are just like a commercialless Impact. Yeah. Okay. So he prefers Streets of Rage 3. All right. Well, we'll get into that at some point.
Yeah,
When
we'll
we
figure
do
something
our
out.
Streets of Rage podcast that we're starting next month.
Next month, yeah.
Yeah,
we've
on
got,
Patreon.
we've got
It's only paid. We're not going to do it for
Streets
free.
of
And anyway,
Rage, Colin and The Vet, everywhere you go. Live on Twitch.
live on Twitch. 9 days from tonight.
And
9 days from tonight.
we'll be live on Twitch, ladies and gentlemen, streaming Streets of Rage 4 co-op. I got Marvel Alliance, Ultimate Alliance, the newest one too. I like that game better when you play it with friends, because trying to play with the teams, it's a really good
Switch,
Marvel
though.
game.
I don't have
Oh,
a
that's
Switch,
true.
though.
Yeah, you don't have a Switch.
They should have put that on something else.
They should have put it on something else.
Yeah.
Need you to
Well,
conform.
I guess we can't. We got to talk about Impact some more.
Oh yeah, we do get to talk about Impact Wrestling from Thursday. That would be June 17th. And just like you said, they start out, we see Kenny Omega retaining the World Championship, but we see the firing of Sami Callihan, as you touched on. And EVP Scott D'Amore confronted by Moose.
That's right. Right off the bat, we get Moose.
We get Moose
right away, like we were saying. You know, it's proof that
we need more Moose.
They're listening to what we say, right? Because haven't we just been saying this show could be the whole thing could be Moose?
It just needs to be Moose.
Yeah, and then we've also said, you know, certain things that we've seen them take action. We've seen D'Lo taking my Moose thing, it's our thing. We both did it. So you mean to tell me that D'Lo just decided to say moose all on his own, like with no prompting or outside influences? Like he just decided he was going to do that? No, it's clearly because the Impact attack governs the direction of the actual Impact, as it should.
Well, Vet, we also find out that he's got a valid reason to be upset, but Anthem is sending someone to personally deal with Don Callis' constant interference tonight. So D'Amore leaves us closing the door on Moose while he vows that time would be made for him. And we go to the ring for our first match.
Who's in it?
TJP and Falaba versus Black Taurus with Crazy Steve. So we get this one-on-one match here with TJP and Black Taurus. Now, I watched Impact Wrestling on my break from work today, and I went over to a coworker's house, and we watched it together. And he doesn't watch wrestling. So I subjected him to Impact Wrestling to get his kind of like take on it. Like, because he's like, hey, do you think you can get me back into wrestling? And I'm like, not with this, but I could try.
so he's a lapsed fan that somehow
super lapsed fan.
Why is it that it has to be like that, where people are really want to like something and they feel like they have to be forced? You shouldn't have to be forced to like anything, man.
No. But this is Impact Wrestling. So he at the end of this, he told me he liked a couple things and didn't really like the rest. He was very taken aback by Black Taurus. He thought the guy was coming out to take his mask off, because, you know, again, back when he was watching wrestling, guys would usually take stuff like that off. They wouldn't wrestle, and he's like, he's gonna wrestle like that? I'm like, yeah, that's how he comes. That's his whole gimmick in Mexico. He's like, he's a bull person. Like, that's his whole character. And he was kind of taken aback, like, because that's one of the things he talked about at the end. He was like, the bull guy, he's like, maybe I could kind of believe it. He's like, but then in this day and age, like, it's hard for me to fantasize that that's a real bull person or whatnot. And I'm like, I mean, I get that, but down in Mexico, they see it just like that.
Do they? Or, I mean, they know that, like, the mask is the persona, but they know that it's a mask. It's not like anybody thought that those guys' face had, like, crazy colors and designs on it. That's not their face, but they treat it like their face, but it's not their face, and the fans know it's a mask. That's part of it. Otherwise, if it wasn't a mask, then a guy getting his mask taken off would mean nothing when they have mask versus mask.
No, I mean, I get that they
hair.
know that he's masked, but his whole character kind of is like he's a bull.
But so now this is an interesting talking point, because this is exactly what I'm saying when I'm talking about the disassociation we have between gimmicks and reality. So if there's a guy who acts like a bull and wears a bull mask, it's like he's living that, like, that's the life he's living and that's what he's putting forward. But we are not supposed to think that this is literally a bull. we're supposed to think that this is a persona or an attitude that is exemplified by the gear and the behavior. We don't think this is like a shoot minotaur in the fucking wrestling ring. That it's not Mantar. You know, we actually had one of these before. It's called Mantar. It didn't work out so good.
Tarus.
Yeah, this is different.
He's the new Mantar.
Whereas when you see like Alexa Bliss and the Fiend, not your Fiend, but the other Fiend, we're supposed to believe that this doll Lily is attacking Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
Like that this doll is doing this on her own. Like
Chucky did.
Yeah.
Slappy from Goosebumps.
In a movie, in a show, in a book. But
and I'm supposed to suspend disbelief for that, so I could suspend disbelief that that little doll is going to attack people.
Yeah. So I just feel like they're doing obviously fake stuff with that. But a guy wearing a bullhead, I mean, that's just what he wants to wear. It seems like it'd be more of a handicap for him. I wouldn't want to do it. Like, that's what I'm looking at this guy and I'm just like, fuck, that's an elaborate mask. It can't be comfortable. It looks like it's definitely hot. I mean, the material, like, it does not look breathable.
I just wonder about the horns. Like, what are the horns?
And the horns? What if you poke somebody in the eye?
Are they soft? Are they kind of like Psychosis's horns or Jushin Thunder Liger's like little things that come off of his mask?
Yeah, all those things are hazards in the ring. Like, you could actually, even if it's a soft, like a little soft horn, if you catch somebody in the eye or whatever, it could hurt. So those are like things that people don't really think about because they look cool. Another guy that had like a really elaborate, cool mask, I'm like, shit, that's not like a normal mask. Was what's that guy from Lucha Underground?
Not Matanza.
No, the long tongue.
Oh yeah, Vibro. Not Vibro. He was the dragon. I can't remember. Drago.
Drago, yeah.
Drago, yeah.
Look at that thing. It had like scales and horns and shit all over it. And
yeah,
it
the
looked
fake
like
tongue. I love the fake tongue though.
Yeah, it looked like it was from a movie, but it's like, okay, but that can't be comfortable to wrestle in. And if somebody like hits that, like if they hit that with their head, they hit that mask, or they get scraped or scratched or poked or something like that, it's gotta suck. But
well, what about Luchasaurus?
Yeah, I mean, Luchasaurus, same deal. He's got horns on his mask, even though they broke him off that one time, which was kind of funny to get some heat. But yeah, like that, at least that is only like a upper face mask. You know, it's almost like he's an NBA player.
Yeah, he has the jaw can come out and stuff like that. Yeah.
Why don't the NBA players that have to wear those face guards? Why don't they get something elaborate, dragon-like? You know,
it's like what the Undertaker did when his eye socket was broken. They did the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Yeah, same deal.
Cody Rhodes turned his into. I mean, I think one of the only NBA players that's really monetized it was Rip Hamilton. When he did his, he was kind of known as the dude in the mask when he busted his face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to this match. This was well, the important thing to know, Colin, is that the Impact trading cards sold out in 20 minutes. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're not gonna be. Was that you? Did you
Yeah,
get those for Big Ray? Did you get those
so
a wedding present for Big Ray? You got him all the Impact stock of cards?
I sold my position on AMC because someone sold me a deal on these Impact trading cards. So I bought them all. This one whole series, I bought them all. They're totally sold out. I gave up a chance at millions of dollars when AMC finally hits 100K a share for these Impact Wrestling cards. So I did it for you guys. Giveaway. Okay. It's giveaway material.
Okay, so you didn't give them away to Big Ray for a wedding present.
No. I have them on hold. Why would I give such a gold mine away to someone like that for a wedding present?
Well, I thought you love Big Ray.
I'm gonna sit on it. It's me gold.
All right.
Now I'm Sheamus.
You're Sheamus. Why does everyone always laugh when I say that? But speaking of Taurus himself, like, I'll take this time to comment that, I haven't really, I don't mean this in like a mean way or a dismissive way, but I haven't really been impressed with him since I've been watching him. Like,
he's taking the Mamba Splash from TJP here.
Right.
Chopping out.
Well, I'm not talking about that because that's not in his control. It's like, what do you do with your time? Right. So it's like his entire charisma hinges on him having a bull mask. Like that,
And
like
hanging out with Crazy Steve.
yeah. Here's not even that. It's like. Because he wasn't hanging out with Crazy Steve when he started this gimmick. It's just like, look, guys, I have a bull mask. That's why you should care about me.
Let me.
That's all I've
and
got.
I get
He doesn't have like, I'm just saying, for like mechanically, his body language, his selling, his intensity. There's none of those. Like he's just a guy going through the motions, and he can do a couple athletic things for a guy that his size or whatever, but. But really what it is like, this guy has a bull mask, no one else does, and he's not maximizing
he's ginormous.
His TV. He's not even really that big.
No, he's not, but he's big compared to the guys on Impact Wrestling. But I will say this, it's not just like you said, it's not his fault, because I don't know if you noticed on the entrance, it's his match with TJP. They focused the camera on Crazy Steve, and Crazy Steve doing his part of the decay entrance or whatever. Like, the camera was hard for, like, I mentioned that to the guy I was watching the show with. I was like, you notice how this is Black Taurus's match, but they've got the camera and solely everything focused on Crazy Steve during the entrance and everything.
So that's still on him.
Yeah,
because he should
be the one taking front and center.
Right, he's got to take that on his own entrance, and I don't know what his level of communication is. Like, I don't know how. I'm sure he speaks a little English. I don't know how much, and I don't know how much they communicate with him. I don't know how much they're interested in getting Black Taurus over during the time that he's going to be spending in Impact.
I mean, look at
so they could just be like, hey, whatever, we're going to go. You know, you guys have your match and whatever, and they're not like really worried about it. And if he's trying to learn, because he's not been doing this very long, if he's trying to learn, then he needs people to tell that kind of stuff to him. Like, this is your match. You got to you got to have more of a presence. He's always just kind of there. So that's why I'm saying I don't mean to be dismissive or crude, because I don't know the situation. I don't know all the factors that are leading into it, but I am saying, like, he's not getting himself over at all. And there are things that you can do without saying a word. Especially, you have to work harder to get yourself over when you work under a mask, because they can't see your face, or at least most of it. So that means everything else you do has to be bigger, exaggerated, dynamic, exciting. You have to sell a different way. You have to fire up a different way. Those are the things that you do when you're working a mask. And he's playing a somewhat of a babyface role a little bit. Because it seems like Decay's not like full heel, at least not the way.
Not during this show, they didn't seem like they were heel,
right? And TJP,
with the exception of maybe Rosemary, but even then, not really.
Yeah, and TJP is like, he's like goes between whatever he needs to do. Like, if he needs to be a dick, he's a dick. If he needs to be the underdog, he's the underdog. Whatever he needs to do, and he can fill both those roles equally. But Taurus is just, I mean, he's just not getting himself over. That's just what I think.
And we've definitely taken too long talking about a guy that's not getting over. And as I said before, TJP gets the Mamba Splash, wins the match, and immediately Moose attacks TJP. And, it's a good thing we added this, because
Guards! More guards!
we definitely needed to calm Moose down, as security had to come out to stop the raging Moose. Moose. There's more Moose, and you got to have Moose on your television here.
We almost got our dream of an entire show of Moose, because he attempted to hijack the show.
That's when Scott D'Amore was hiding in the back when he said this.
Guards! More guards!
Just get out there, guys. I'm gonna stay. Hang on, wait. Let me do my Scott D'Amore impression here. Guy.
Guards! More guards!
Spot on.
Just screaming directions at everybody, getting red-faced. The guy that I watched the show with, when he was watching Scott D'Amore act, he was like, this guy hasn't been doing this very long, has he? And I'm like, well, he's been in wrestling for a long time, but I don't think he's really been on TV all that much. And he's like, yeah, he's trying to play like that Vince McMahon, like, asshole boss. He's like, but Vince is believable, because Vince has been doing it on TV for like 20 years. He's like, this guy doesn't seem like he's really got like the acting chops to really plug this like asshole boss kind of thing that he does. Because he kind of goes back and forth between like asshole boss and nice boss and stuff like that. Like, Vince knew his character.
Scott D'Amore just does wrestling promos. No matter what he's saying, he's doing it the way a wrestler would.
Yeah.
And that's why it comes off as phony.
Yeah. Well, who's not phony is Moose. Moose in the ring, clearing everybody out.
Right. But then Chris Sabin, of all people, shows up, ruins everything, ruins our dream of having an all Moose show. He's throwing. What is this throwing shoes? What is he doing?
Hitting Moose in the head, being dangerous. Why? Who throws a shoe?
I mean, honestly. Yeah. What is this heat
a guy who's a guy not Chris Sabin, but the guy in the movie who threw the shoe was a rapist, and he's in jail. He's in jail for rape.
The guy that played Random Task.
Yeah, Joseon. He is like he fought in the UFC, and he's a complete piece of shit human being, and he's in jail for like serial rape.
All right, well, moving on. Ace Austin. I mean, where do you go with that?
Ace Austin. Yeah, Ace Austin. Let's talk about Ace Austin. Well, we had Rohit and Ace arguing about what happened at Against All Odds. Madman Fulton, who ruined the 5-way bout on Saturday, was there as well. So he apologizes. He reminds Raju that he was partly responsible for Fulton taking the Avalanche, the Canadian Destroyer, and Austin asked for partnership with Raju, and Raju agrees. So we've got an unfriendly like an unholy alliance going on here. Like these guys are all going to turn on each other here, aren't they?
I mean, I assume so. None of them are trustworthy, but yeah.
Welcome.
So they're
welcome for that heartwarming fact.
They're making deals here, but this is the way they're doing it. Where this is the good thing I like about Impact is these camera scenes where it looks like someone's like sneaking around the corner and shooting it like we're not supposed to see it, but
GTV.
we are.
It's Goldberg 2.0 here. GTV.
Yeah, it's well, you know, it's not even really, because that was almost like security cam stolen footage or hidden camera footage. This was like I was on my way to go shoot something else and I saw this and I felt like I better get it for the show type deal. So I like that. It makes it seem a little less staged. But if you overuse it, then it's kind of like, so what, do people in Impact just sneak around with cameras like trying to find wrestlers talking? I mean, that seems weird. So they have to balance it a little bit, and we'll see it a few more times during the show, to my point. So yeah.
And then we've got Chris Sabin, who's vowed to humble the wrestling god. Spoiler alert, he's not gonna humble the wrestling god. Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin that for anybody.
We all thought he was going to do it.
I said spoiler alert.
But now that you said it, we know that he won't.
Well, we go back to the ring, Vet, unless you've got anything on Chris Sabin.
No, he's had a wrestling promo, and not a bad one. Certainly not as bad as the lighting here in this room.
He looks good too. You know, from what we've seen him in these past shoots to this shoot here, he's gotten in some serious ring shape, because I guess he knew he was going, and he looks like the Chris Sabin of old, because I'm going to do a little foreshadowing. We got Chris Sabin winning the match, or winning the belt for the first time as the flashback against Bully Ray, and I enjoyed that finish. I kind of paid attention to this flashback because, again, I was watching it with my friend, and I enjoyed the finish where Bully gets the hammer and goes to hit Sabin, and Sabin reverses it, hits him with the hammer, and falls directly into the pin. And you know, Bully had a lot to do with that storytelling, probably, and that was a really, really neat finish, and something I hadn't seen before, so I was kind of interested in watching that. Did you enjoy that flashback, Vet?
It was all right. You know, there's a reason you don't usually see the old hammer to the head finish, and that's because it would usually change the trajectory of somebody's life, if not end it. But hey.
Oh, well, yep, here we go. When Britt Baker threatened to hit Sheeta with her high heel, she was also eating a burger at the same time. So she could have hit her with the high heel or the burger. What would you rather be hit with, Vet? A Whopper, like a double Whopper that Britt Baker's been chewing on, or a high heel?
You said if it has to be a Whopper from Burger King?
I mean, I guess it's just a burger. What burgers do you think they're serving at Daly's place?
Well, I thought there was like a promo with a specific. Well, I'm just saying, my point is, if it's a Whopper, I'll take the high heel shoe. Don't put any Burger King food anywhere near me.
So we've got Madman Fulton with Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander, he impressed my friend, and I told him about my friend who watched made a comment that it doesn't look like Madman Fulton was really hitting Josh with any of his punches. And then there were like right as he was telling me that there was the big boot, and then there was the cut because you could tell clearly that Fulton didn't hit him or come anywhere close to hitting Alexander with the boot. And so I kind of paid attention to what he was saying, and he was right. You would see kind of Fulton going to lay it in, and he's not like he's pulling his punches way too close and not hitting Alexander. And then he's like, look at Alexander, he's hitting him, and you can see Alexander's getting in there and really hitting him with punches. And then he made a comment about Ace Austin. I'm like, yeah, Ace Austin's the veteran. And he's like, yeah, you can tell, because right as he said that, Ace Austin gets in and they start laying, like Alexander and Austin start laying into each other. And he's like, yeah, you can tell because Austin's laying his punches in. Like, you can see that it looks real. And I'm like, man, you like looking at him like, you know, a little bit more about this stuff than what you think for somebody that hasn't watched it. You know, like these guys really.
Are you sure that he's not
attention.
just down? He's not just one of those guys that downplays his wrestling fandom because he's embarrassed about it, like every one of these fans?
Well, he's autistic, so he's really good at paying attention to the fine detail of things. Like he is very well knowledgeable about a lot of things because he just focuses in on details.
Man, I pay attention to details. I'm not autistic. That's just called paying attention.
It might be. You never know. Gotta go take that test.
Probably not. But yeah, I mean, well, of course. I don't know why it's so hard for people to throw a punch. It's just seems like, I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, what's so hard about it? I don't get it. It was very easy for me. So I don't consider myself the greatest athlete ever, but I mean, if it's something that you're going to be asked to do a lot, like punching is in kind of modern wrestling now, you would think that you'd want to, like, you know, figure it out, work on it. But everybody just ends up looking weird. Like they do the thing like AJ Styles, like when he hits the guy on the top of the head, you know, like just look, it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, of all the things you do so well, this ain't one of them.
Just punching a dude in the forehead is not going to do anything to him. That's like one of the worst places to punch a guy.
Right. Or people that like sidearm it, you know, even guys that are traditionally thought to have good wrestling punches like Scott Hall or The Rock or things like that, but they swing their arm in such an unnatural way, and just like,
The Rocks were definitely very cartoony punches.
Right. But they looked cool, not like a real punch, but people just enjoyed it. But I mean, to actual throw a punch that looks like a punch, there's not that many guys that do it well, and I don't know why. It's not one of the harder things to learn. According to Josh Matthews, though, you got to get yourself a Josh Alexander micro brawler. So everybody run out and do that right now. I'll wait. No, I'm not gonna wait. Yeah, and then after the match, it's like, of course they get that thing where this is another TNA classic where, but this is one of those things that under the cover of night, the WWE snuck in and also does this from TNA, but they're not going to ever admit they ripped anything off from TNA, even though they ripped off a lot of shit from TNA. Every participant in the upcoming match runs out and gets involved in a fight. You know, so plus Shira, he's there.
Well,
too.
and that was the thing too, because Mahabali Shira, as you said, comes out, clears everybody, and you know, I was sitting there telling my friend because he was asking me kind of who some of these people are. And I was like, well, Shira, him and Rohit are like, have been buddies, but Rohit kind of left him hanging a couple times. Like there's some heat here. I was like, so expect him to like clear the ring and possibly beat up on Rohit. And boy, was I wrong here, because we see Rohit, Mahabali Shira, Madman Fulton, and Austin Aries standing strong here. Austin Aries, sorry. Ace Austin standing strong here. And then I was like, oh, like right before they went to go hold their arms up, I'm like, this is the part where he's going to turn on Rohit, and it'll be like the three of them going off and forming some kind of group. And then that didn't happen. And we were very confused because I was like, this does not look like an alliance that I could get behind here. Like they're both a bunch of dastardly heels sticking together here. What do you think? Do we think Mahabali Shira turns on these guys and just destroys all of them?
I don't know. Do we? I mean, does it matter? Why would he? What would be the purpose of that?
Well, what's the purpose of all four of these guys teaming up? Because they're all going for the same thing. Rohit and Ace are going for the same thing.
Just to maybe throw some doubt on, you know, what's going to happen as far as Alexander's concerned. Like, it's going to look like he's going to have to contend with 4 guys rather than just the individuals themselves.
He's the man on the mountain. He wanted this.
And Shearer and Fulton aren't going to be in this match, right? So they're going to be like outside factors. So it's kind of like both these guys got these people. But what's going to end up happening is during the match, they're not going to be able to decide who's going to ultimately go over, and they're going to cancel each other out. I'm sure that's where they're going with it. But the idea is to put more doubt that Josh Alexander can overcome like a concentrated effort towards taking his title. That's the psychology of why they're doing it. I'm not saying it's a good psychology. I'm just trying to explain how they're rationalizing it. Just a couple of comments in the YouTube here. Sonic says, The Rock punches you twice, then looks at his own palm for 10 seconds, punches you again. I like to add a small correction. He'll punch you 3 times, and then he'll spit in his palm, and then hit you
a 4th time.
That's it. And then Society says, Shearer's been in Impact for years, and it seems like they never pull the trigger on him. Well, have you ever watched him? He's the drizzling shits. He looks like he looks, and then the bell rings. That's why they're never going to pull the trigger on him. They won't even pull the trigger on goddamn Moose. You know, they're not going to pull the fucking trigger on this 2 left-footed clown. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean to him. I'm sure he's a very nice man.
He might actually have 2 left feet. Have you seen his feet for real?
I haven't, but I've seen his matches.
We don't know if he really does have 2 left feet. He might.
I've seen his matches,
until we get verification. Where's William Alessia? Our very own William Alessia. I need to know if Mahabali Shira actually has 2 left feet. We get him on that scoop.
Well, while we're waiting for that,
we've got Deanna Perrazzo. While we're waiting for that, I can wait for that while we have her on the TV screen. But she's chewing out Susan and your good buddy Kimberly here. Just another backstage segment.
Voyeur cam again.
Yep.
Peeking around the corner, catching this. Now we've done it twice.
Away. Not very happy. Not very happy.
I wouldn't be.
Then we're backstage again, and we've got William Morrissey. What's the W stand for? Watson, William.
It stands for we don't know.
We don't know Morrissey. Cue the Morrissey music. I bet Wolfers is happy at this part of the show. He's playing some Smiths right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, this interview's done over music as usual. You know, you got to have the impact.
Wait, hang on. We're gonna do this segment over music then.
Okay. Yeah. So in this scene, he's doing his little interview, which is actually good. He's making interesting points about having friends and what that gets you in this business, and everything. He's
so much better due to the music.
Everything, yeah, I know. I feel like the people are enjoying what we're saying more because it's got music behind it.
There's rock music behind us.
Yeah, and so I like what he said here. I like how he said it. He didn't necessarily do a wrestling promo. He did a very conversational, matter-of-fact, delivering a message type thing. And I can't really argue with anything that Morrissey has done since he's been here in Impact. The only thing I didn't like is the way he comes in with Violent by Design, but then has no association with them whatsoever.
Off, yeah.
And it's not even mentioned. You could just say like a throwaway reason, like, yeah, I decided I don't want to hang out with those guys anymore. You know, whatever. Just something. Just acknowledge it. You know, but they don't do that. That's fine though. But I like this. Did you like it? Did your friend like it?
He did. We kind of, some of these backstage segments we would start talking. Because I kind of vaguely remember Morrissey, and I kind of said something about it, but I think we were in the middle of kind of a different conversation. Because I think that's where we were lost on the Mahabali Shira Ace Austin thing, because we missed the kind of that backstage promo where the 3 of them were backstage talking. So that's why I was very confused about the Rohit Mahabali Shira stuff. But I mean, I tried to kind of point his direction towards Morrissey, because he kind of made the comment about Impact and TNA, like, like what level are they compared to the WWE? And I was like, they were probably like the third or fourth promotion. He was like, oh, so they don't really have guys that have been in the WWE or have made it to that level. And I'm like, it's a mixture of both. I was like, they have WWE guys and they have non-WWE guys. They have Tommy Dreamer. They have like a lot of these other people that have been influential in wrestling at some point in time that are backstage with them. And so I tried to point out, like, this guy used to be in the WWE, but he didn't really know him. So it wasn't like he was interested in kind of paying attention. And it was just the top. Like, you didn't really see all of Morrissey while he cut the promo, if I remember correctly. It was mostly just his upper half. So you're not really going to look at this, giant man. He might have been interested if he saw like this giant man doing something in the ring or something like that. But I think this promo really didn't catch his attention to like want to pay attention to what was going on the TV screen.
I wonder if it was because the music made it jabroni-ish.
It might have. It might have. The music here didn't last long because we ran out of music during the segment.
That's fine.
But we've got the debut of Steve Macklin, and he was very. My friend was very meh.
Who?
Oh, Burt Macklin.
FBI.
Burt Macklin, FBI.
Yeah, right.
Burt Macklin.
And he takes on Johnny Karate here.
Squash match here. As my friend was kind of like, he kind of watched the match and he was like, now if I was mistaken and I had never watched this before, which again he hadn't, he was like, the one guy looks like he is just gonna kill this other guy, like kind of like what he did, and then the other guy is just kind of like a jobber. And I'm like, yeah, that one guy just came from WWE, like he lost his job because they kept a racist over him. Well, supposed racist in Riker, who they're turning babyface. What is going on in the WWE right now?
They always have the last laugh on everyone.
It's just, but we get Burt Macklin, and were you impressed with the debut? Did the vignettes leading up to this debut of Burt Macklin, was it as anticipated? One, as the evolution that we saw with Eva debuting on Monday night. Which debut was better? The Eva's or Burt Macklin's?
As a shoot?
Oh yeah. Let me know. Hit it. We want to know the truth here at the Impact Attack.
As a shoot, Eva Marie's debut, but that's a fucking faint praise. This is the problem. Like, I talked about it with Ben last week. I said there's $0 on this guy, like zero, like there's negative money because you have to pay him, right? So he's got nothing to offer. He never had anything to offer. If you have a trained eye, you can see that right away. One thing that wrestling has an overabundance of is average size white guys. So we don't need any more flavorless, boring, don't bring anything to the table white guys in wrestling. It's not interesting. At least if you have a person of color
Beers
that's
Austin in the chat. What's up, Beers?
What's up?
Wrestling with Tragedy. He you should check out that show if you haven't listened to it before.
Yeah, everybody give that one a listen, and but don't listen to anything that Burt Macklin's gonna have to say, because these
don't.
But like, here's the deal: like with those vignettes, the vignettes weren't bad, but then they build a level of anticipation, and then when it's come time to deliver, now you're talking about the setup, and now you're talking about the payoff. So the setup is this, and the payoff is this. So this payoff was really not enough to say. It might have been better just to debut him cold, and then because then it's like, okay, so we're getting our first look at Steve Macklin, and then he's got this other guy, and then if he like kills this guy in 2 seconds, it's like, oh wow, a big debut for Steve Macklin. Whereas it's almost like a surprise that the guy's here. It's a surprise that he won as fast as he did. Now we have a reason to pay attention to this guy. Then maybe you could show him with his feet kicked up drinking Jameson after that.
Would you have changed what he wore to the ring? Now as a person who probably agented and produced match, do you really have control over, like, hey, I would rather you wear jeans to go out here and kick this guy's ass than wear your like non-generic black wrestling tights and just look very non-generic for your debut match?
No, you don't agent people's gear.
No, really? Okay.
No, absolutely not.
I didn't know.
Because first of all, like, they show up at the building with what they're going to wear, and you don't know
That's
what
true.
it is.
Yeah.
Then they put it on. What are you going to tell them? It looks like shit, and then that's going to fuck with them before they go through the curtain. And it doesn't look like shit. It's just, like you said, it's boring. You know, it's traditional. But the gear doesn't really matter if you, like, no one, if he had purple trunks, it's not going to fool anybody into thinking that this is any better. It's partly due to the anticipation. It's partly due to that the guy has nothing really different or unique to offer. And that's, you know, that's just unfortunate. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that this guy is a nice guy. I've got no problem with him. I'm just talking in terms of like what we got. If I'm looking at a critical eye with what was put in front of us as a fan, that's what I'm saying. And it sounded like, you know, your friend that you're talking about felt similarly, that there was nothing special about this. I can give some mechanical advice, which is he should probably leave the chop out of his repertoire from now on, just for the sake of everyone on the roster's nipples. Just don't do it, man. Just stop. Don't do it. That's all I can really say. Everything else was just a very 5 out of 10 on this whole thing. So.
Sorry, I'm reading some back on some chat about some things. I missed some stuff. There's literally 54 notifications on this one chat that I'm in, and there's some crazy stuff going on right now.
Crazy like Crazy Steve?
Crazy Steve. We got Crazy Steve. We're done with Burt Macklin. We've got Rachel Ellering trying to calm Jordan Grace down because Jordan's not very happy that people are making fun of the deadlifting pictures that she put on the internet. No, that's not why she's mad. She's upset that she put a picture of herself with her giant moose knuckle hanging out there, and people made that their profile. But that's not why she's mad. No, that's not why why is she mad, Vet?
Because people think that she's the reason that the team is losing all the time, and she's the weak link.
That's why she's mad, because she's terrible and they're jobbing her out.
Yeah, she's complaining about her own shortcomings.
Well,
they're saying that the only reason they've got anything at all is because of Rachel.
Well, guess what? She's gonna make Rachel Ellering the I would say the better half of Jellering. Is going to try to make it right, and she's going to take on Tennille Dashwood tonight, and she's going to show Jordan that her loyalty is with Jordan and not with Tennille Dashwood here. It's all about Jellering and not about Tennillering.
Tennillering. Not that it was ever in question.
Her beefy moose knuckle. Yes, you have to throw in moose on everything. Beefy moose knuckle.
Now you would think that like a moose knuckle or a hoof, as it were, wouldn't have any meat on it, but that's just what Jordan Grace can do for you.
Well, a moose knuckle is usually a dude that's you can see his, but that thing was so huge. It's not a camel toe. That thing is a moose knuckle.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, let's not do it. We've already just in case anybody didn't know that the Friday locker room got flagged. Let's everybody
do the vaccine talk. But we've
mind
got
our P's and Q's.
Gia Miller is interviewing Impact Wrestling's EVP Don Callis. She points out that Callis and Scott D'Amore have been butting heads, especially over Sami Callihan. And Callis said that, like brothers, he and D'Amore may disagree a lot, but they still care about each other. D'Amore felt sympathy for his talent, and Callis had always been the one to make the tough decisions. This time, Callis pulled the trigger on firing Sami Callihan, and as far as Anthem sending someone to Impact, it's likely to thank Callis for getting rid of the company's biggest liability in Sami Callihan. Oh boy. Don Callis is setting us up right here. I love it. Any thoughts on the backstage segment before we get to Tennille Dashwood versus Rachel Ellering?
You know, Don Callis is always good doing these type of things. Like, he could do this stuff in his sleep. You just tell Don Callis you need him to talk for 5 minutes. He'll go out there and talk for 5 minutes, and it'll be interesting and make sense. I mean, there's just very few guys like him that can do that. I don't always love everything, all the creative he's involved in, but just as far as, you know, guys that are fun to listen to and are entertaining and doing what other people seem to struggle with, you know, I put Don Callis is up there. So.
Well, we go back to the ring as we have Tennille Dashwood versus Rachel Ellering. Tennille Dashwood picking up the win here with the distraction from Caleb with a K. My friend was enjoying some Rachel Ellering. He enjoyed the Jessica Havoc later on in the evening when she appeared. But your thoughts on this match overall? I mean, I felt like we watched a pretty decent match here. Like, it wasn't a very bad match between like most of the women's matches that we get on here aren't very good unless it's Fire and Flava, in these matches. But I feel like Tennille and Rachel put on a good show.
Yeah, nice traditional wrestling to start, working a headlock. Spaceman's just putting more results on there. Don't pay him any mind. Apparently, D'Lo saved Josh Matthews from a gas station fight. These are the stories that they're telling, so you can tell how invested the commentators are in the action on the screen, and by, that may have something to do with how the audience is feeling about the action on the screen when these guys are just jabbering about God knows what. But Tennille chops better than Macklin. I'll just say that right there. And then the distraction finish came. Caleb has like a lighting rig for his phone.
The O-ring he's been at Rose's lately. They have the,
is that like a makeup
O-ring.
Like a makeup mirror light thing?
No, so it's for live streaming and broadcasting. You get the O-ring and it fits perfectly there, so you have the perfect light, and it's mounted with they have all kinds of sizes. I think when I was in New York, we stopped at Marshall's to grab some shirts and stuff, and they were like right by the register is one of those things they want you to buy as you're walking out, is like these giant O lights where it has exactly what he had, the little thing that you put the phone in so that you can record and get the perfect lighting. Don't act like that's not what you're using for your lighting setup, Vet. Come on now. We all know.
That's what gives me this healthy glow right here that you're seeing.
I've got a O-ring light.
Nah, I can prove it. I've got no ring. It's just a regular phone.
That's a very bright iPhone.
That's not an iPhone.
Wow. He's Team Android, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right, baby. So this lighting rig that he's got for his phone, wherever it is better than whatever the building usually uses. So we'll put that out there. But I would like to see him if he's going to do the distraction thing. She just looked like she was annoyed by the fact that he was there with his little phone. But it would have been cool if he figured out some way to blind her with it or something. Just wave it closer to her face so she can go.
That's kind of what I thought they were.
Or like a flashlight, turn the flashlight on the phone and just shine it right in her eyes or something. Yeah. Just something real quick. You don't have to oversell it, but it only takes that 1 second for her to get rolled up, and that's the thing. So that's just a little something they could have done, but it's too late now. But they could do it in the future. But I like, this was pretty all right. I liked it.
It was a pretty all right match from the Vet. I need to make that a drop. It was pretty all right.
That's the best way to describe it, because they didn't really do anything wrong, but I could not go tell somebody, man, you got to go check this out, right? It's just not going to be that.
So we're backstage again with TJP and Falaba banging on Impact Wrestling. Scott D'Amour's door, EVP Scott D'Amour. I hate that now that EVP's a thing. We had the Authority, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's now everybody's an EVP now." Thank you AEW for making everybody a fucking EVP. Now I was hyping up Falaba to my friend. I was like, "Oh, you're really gonna like him." He's he doesn't speak. All he does is do the Ba thing, and people kind of understand what he's saying, right?
That was months ago.
No, I know, but I still thought he kind of did that because he hasn't really been on our television all that much, especially in talking roles.
No, but remember when he was wearing a dress because he was part of Swingers Palace, which thankfully we haven't seen any of for the past...
he did the Ba stuff. He was still kind of doing the Ba stuff. No, I don't remember him talking.
He definitely talked. He explained why he was in the dress, and then they had to roll to get him out.
Clearly, it wasn't memorable enough for me to remember something like that. So I'm sitting here telling my friend about how he doesn't talk or whatnot. As of course, I was confused with the gimmick, and then he starts talking perfect English. And speaking in this, but we have this segment again. Crazy Steve and Black Taurus interrupt, and my friend really liked Crazy Steve. He could tell he was really good at acting, and kind of being the clowning and stuff kind of lended to how he portrayed himself and moved about the scene and all that type of stuff. Like brought more to the scene than just kind of standing there cutting a promo and stuff like that with his actions and the way he moved his hands and his body and everything. So yeah, we're gonna get that tag team. Of course, it's gonna be Crazy Steve and Black Taurus versus Falaba and TJP.
Does anybody know that's watching at what point Falaba stopped just saying "ba" and then actually started talking? And knowing Impact, it was probably something stupid like he hit his head one too many times, and then he started speaking perfectly after that. But I don't remember whatever happened because
if they're gonna use that, they need to use him like Silent Bob, like where he'll just ba the whole entire time, and then like in one poignant moment he hits you with like some English when you like least expect it. Oh, when Scarlett left him, he started speaking English again when Scarlett left him. She had to go to the WWE. She was headed to NXT with her man. I think I would probably quit valeting Falaba to go to go to NXT.
Not every girl brings you lasagna at work, dude. Most of them just cheat on you.
Well, we go backstage again here, and we've got Fire and Flava. And I love how they just the random white dudes back there like cleaning up the trash, and they set this up perfectly as Rosemary just appears out of nowhere, and Jessica Havoc shows up, and Fire and Flava get beaten up as Kiera Hogan winds up in the trash. And as she's in the trash bin, she picks up a trash bag with Mickie James's name on it. That was very hilarious. I loved the throwback to Mickie James, and they did it so perfectly timed because not only was that flashback that they showed right after this about Chris Sabin, but Nick Aldis makes an appearance as Magnus in the flashback that they had. So not only did they get the jab at the WWE with the Mickie James thing, they had a Nick Aldis run in, and then even later on in the show, they hit us with more trash bag talk. It was a lot of jabs at the WWE this week from Impact Wrestling. They're trying to make you know that it's current. They're like, oh yeah, this joke was like 2 months ago, but we're still up on it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's probably they probably filmed it immediately, but they just had so many shows in the can
that they had to. Yeah, Fire and Flava. I was excited when they appeared on my screen. I heard them talking off screen, and I told my friend, I was like, "Oh, you're gonna enjoy these two girls," and then they got beaten up.
Well, that's part of the fun.
That is part of the fun.
I like how they have to ask the entire custodial staff who is the greatest tag team champions of all time. Like, it's you know.
That poor guy wanted nothing of what they had going on either. Like, like leave me alone. I'm just trying to clean up. Well, would this be your favorite time of the night? Because we go back to the ring as Rhino is going in the ring against your New Japan legend, Satoshi Kojima-san, with Eddie Edwards. And I like, we kind of made a note the last time you and I were on air, when Eddie Edwards was talking to Kojima made sure to say like, oh, I don't speak English very well. Like, and then they made a point to say that they were friends and they know each other. Well, I pointed that out to my friend that happened. And then during the interstitial before this match, they just show video of Eddie Edwards back there pretending to like hype up and talk to Kojima while he's warming up with no audio, so that they can pretend like Kojima knows what he's talking about while he's trying to hype him up for those that had never seen Eddie Edwards and Kojima together.
Well, he was working out in front of his favorite green roll-up door, just like he was last time. You know, he's working. But
that's his part of the locker room. He's taken. That's the Kojima Bread Club area of the locker room there in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he understands hype up English. You know, it's very. They know all those.
He knows enough English to tell someone I can't speak English.
In perfect English. Yes.
In perfect.
Sorry,
English,
I don't speak English. Yes.
So my friend really enjoyed this match. He liked the veteran Kojima here. He liked kind of what Rhino brought to the table. He liked the way that because I told him that he's probably going to end the match with the lariat, and the way that they set up the end, because it looked like Rhino was going to win. He's like, oh man, Rhino's going to win here, like because they were going to set up the gore, and I'm like, nah, Kojima's going to win, like because I forgot about Joe Doring and Kojima. I'm like, no, they're going to set him up to run through everybody and then lose to Joe Doring. And they had him run through Rhino. And I'm like, oh, now he's gonna get beat by Joe or whatnot. And he was very surprised that Kojima, and he liked it. He liked the double sell right before he hit the lariat to win. He was thoroughly enjoyed by this Kojima match.
Well, I mean, Kojima is he knows what to do. He's been doing it for 30 years. He better know by now. And so is Rhino. But unfortunately, like in my personal opinion, I think I've seen some bad Rhino matches, like really bad, like to the point that he just has no psychology and could not work a match if he didn't plan the whole thing out or someone else didn't do it for him, that kind of a thing. So I didn't really get that here as much, maybe just a little bit, because the match was kind of, it was mostly just Rhino beating Kojima up, which I'm sure as an old man he's probably fine with that. Just like, I'll just sell, and then.
And then hit the lariat out of nowhere kind of thing. I'm going to sell the whole match and just hit you with my lariat.
Yeah, he's gonna get a cutter in, and he's going to get it.
Well, that was the comeback, because he hit the cutter and didn't have enough to come back on that, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna get his cutter in. He's gonna get his machine gun chops in. He's gonna get his Ikuzo Bakiro thing in, which D'Lo tried to translate it, but he didn't really do it.
He enjoyed the chops too in the corner. He liked the machine gun chops. That was another plus. He thoroughly enjoyed this Kojima match.
All right, well, that's good then. Good pickup for them. Now, interesting note about Kojima. I don't know when this was taped, but Kojima was already back in Japan having matches, like as of a couple days ago. So I don't know if he's coming back like again to do whatever. Was this supposed to be a Slammiversary or whatever? Is that where the tag title match is, or is it next week on Impact, or when was this supposed tag team title match with?
Next week. It is next week that they get their match.
Okay, so he definitely did not win that match. Sorry, spoilers, because he wasn't carrying no Impact tag team belts in Korakuen Hall on Tuesday or whatever.
Well, no, it just hasn't released yet, so he's not allowed to carry to be known as the main event. They're in his bags. He just can't show them to anybody. Vet. Kayfabe, bro. Kayfabe.
Sure.
Kayfabe.
Sure. But yeah, this is your main event match, but it's not the main event of the show, because we gotta have angles. Right, as a main
Kurt
event.
Angle? We get Kurt Angle?
No,
not the angles that we're looking for. Why you got to set me up like that?
Sorry, poor choice of words.
I thought Kurt Angle was coming out. I thought he was back, ladies and gentlemen. But no, we end the show with Sami Callihan invading the show, and one more time tonight, Scott D'Amore gets to scream out,
More guards!
as more guards come out to stop him, and demanding to see Don Callis and the Impact Wrestling World Champion, the belt collector, the best bout machine, the 6-7 star god, Kenny Omega. But he's going to beat up every single man here. I will crack the skull of every single man. I think that's what the words were. Canada Spaceman loves the ending. He thought the ending was awesome. Vet may have a differing opinion here. But we see Scott D'Amore. They calm down Sami Callihan. They get him out of the ring. But yet D'Amore and Callihan are left, or D'Amore and Callis are left in the ring as Tommy Dreamer shows up. What's Tommy Dreamer doing here? Well, we find out that Tommy Dreamer is the man that the Anthem Board of Directors has sent to clean up the mess that Scott D'Amore and Don Callis have created here at Impact Wrestling. And I love how they sell like he's going to fire Scott D'Amore the whole entire time, and Callis is hyping it up. And then he fires Don Callis right there on the spot. Don Callis is no more a part of Impact Wrestling. Vet, what are your thoughts here on one, Tommy Dreamer going from he runs the place now. Tommy Dreamer is the face that runs the place at Impact Wrestling, because now he works for Anthem. They're doing the bit that Ben Hameen and Vince Russo tried to do, where they went to Fox to kind of be the go-to between here, and now they're totally hashing all of that out on Impact Wrestling now.
Wow. Well, art imitates life, some say. Yeah, it was nice of Sammy to just teleport out like that. Like he hits a button and then all of a sudden he teleports out. So that's cool.
He stole Deadpool's teleportation powers. We talked about that on the retro show that I did with Rad Rob. We talked about how Deadpool used to have teleportation powers and they took them away. They gave them to Sammy Callahan, so I know where those went now.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering. Hey, did you ever play Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
I might have.
So Deadpool has a teleport move in that game, but it malfunctions like on every third try. It doesn't work. Pretty funny. Yeah, Tommy Dreamer's the rep. But this was so like last week I was talking about the scene where they opened the show with the guys, and it should have been that instead of standing in the ring holding microphones in front of an empty building like dorks, they should have shot this like a movie. You know, this should have been one of those cinematics. So this is another instance where I feel like this could have done this could have been a more cinematic thing to close the show. And I don't know why they're not taking advantage of more of this stuff when there's no people in the buildings, but it just seems like they're not. It wouldn't cost them any more money to shoot it as a cinema, like in the back, than it would in the ring. But then you wouldn't have things like it's the microphones. The microphones make it cheesy. Like, why would you? Who is the amplification of the audio for? It's only the three of you in there. You know, it's not like a building with ambient noise that you have to be heard over. So like when Don Callis gets like when he starts yelling and cussing and he calls him like a Bruce Pritchard stooge or something like that, and just gets flustered and walks off, but he has to hold the mic up to his mouth the whole time he's doing that. Like, is that real? Does that take you out of it somewhat in the fact of like people are so desensitized to watching pro wrestling, they just accept these things now.
That's why I've had the mic so close to my mouth all night. I was just wondering if you would notice. I'm doing the Don Callis and the Impact Wrestling. We're doing the Impact attack just like Impact Wrestling. If they're gonna steal from us, I'm gonna steal from them.
I'm just saying it gets a little like weird when you just have everything you say like with a mic in your hand. Well, you know, it just kind of takes away from
you, Bruce Pritchard stooge. You.
Yeah. It's like you wouldn't really need to do all that, but I just don't like that, and it cuts down on some of the creativity because then you got three guys in a ring hashing out business that would never be hashed out in public like this. You know what I mean? It would really be, if it was really real, it would all be like press releases and things like that and done behind closed doors.
Don Callis fired, just like everybody was released with the WWE. You'd find out from Sean Ross Sapp, the only guy who has connections anywhere in the business to report news upon. Just kidding, guys. You can go and listen to our very own William Alicia, who has just enough scoops, just like our good friend Sean Ross Sapp.
Okay, so anyway, the point is, I just feel like you've got all night, you're like having a camera like peeking around corners and through doors like people's conversations, and then in the main event you have like these guys in the ring. So everything they did in there, everything they said in there, like that was all good. I just wish the staging was different. That's all. I guess shout outs to Don West, because I don't know exactly what
what he was like a brain tumor or something like that, some kind of tumor.
Yeah, Don West pretty much since day one of TNA, right? I mean, just like Spaceman said, he was doing his own thing. He wasn't trying to be anybody else, even though he didn't have experience as a wrestling commentator. He definitely was a great pitch man for them, like everybody always says.
He had such a great voice.
He carved out his own thing, which, you know, he would get kind of roasted for it, you know, for his overreactions to things. But I mean, at least he's trying. You know what I mean? So I always, you gotta be kidding me. You know, who's gonna forget that? That's like a classic, iconic line. But yeah.
Well, so Canada Spaceman in the chat, Don Callis has been legit working for AEW for months and not for Impact. I mean, he's been working all of us in general. I'm pretty sure, like Don Callis is you would call him a worker's worker, right? Like he's going to be a guy that's always working kind of thing. So,
nobody knows what he's doing. He's going to, we're gonna think he's doing what he allows us to think he's doing. I mean, when you tell me he's actually works for, it's like an executive in Impact, it's like, okay, well, that could just be somebody trying to work me. I don't know. I mean, he could just be just like any other talent. They've got to perform they've got their contract or whatever, and they're treated like a talent. I don't know how many decisions he makes. I'm sure he has some creative input because he's a smart guy, and they would probably ask him. But
well, the two of them have been there from the beginning. That's what they said tonight. The time it came out.
Yeah, and he is allegedly related to Kenny Omega. That's the story he keeps telling. I'll just take his word for it. But so
aren't all the people from Winnipeg related? Aren't they related to Chris Jericho somehow?
Well, I'm going to ask a Canadian. I'm not going to speak on that.
Do we have any Canadians in the chat?
I don't know if we have any.
I don't think we have any. Do we have any Canadians from Winnipeg?
You could possibly be a Canadian that watches our show, but
he's in space. He's a spaceman. He's not a Winnipeg man.
No, but in any case, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he's going to work out deals what he wants to work out deals. So I don't know if he's working for AEW or just at AEW. It doesn't really matter, right? I mean,
hey, if he's getting a paycheck from Tony Khan and he's getting a paycheck from Anthem, guess what? He's still getting a paycheck.
Yeah, maybe he's getting 2 paychecks.
So apparently there's nobody there but chickens.
Maybe nobody ever stopped paying him for his New Japan commentary. Maybe he's getting 3 checks. I don't know. It could be like one of those Office Space glitch situations where he kept receiving a paycheck.
They moved him to the basement. He was not supposed to. Why are we still paying Don Callis? I don't know. I just moved him to the basement. We just moved him back to NXT. It's okay.
Well, Impact could be a basement. I mean, I could see that. But yeah, man, that was it. This was our
reports.
This was our show. There was some good stuff in it. Not much, but there was some. And then Slammiversary is a little further off than usual. Usually we're used to getting a pay-per-view every 2 weeks.
What do you mean? It's
9 days from tonight.
9 days from tonight.
Yeah, maybe it's that time of season where he donates chickens in Moldova or whatever gimmick he says. Yeah. Yeah, he's got like a ton of charity work that he does all over the world. So I don't think they could just tie him down to one place like Impact.
He's a man. I mean, they would allow him to work. I'm pretty sure he can get paychecks from wherever he wants to get paychecks.
But more to the point, it doesn't really matter. Like, it really doesn't matter what his shoot job is. I mean, we're seeing this. If he wants, let's say he was working at Impact and he wants to leave, he's gonna do whatever, like, traditional wrestling way to leave the company would be. So whereas loser leaves town match or things like that, like if he's really leaving Impact or going to do something else, he's going to make an angle out of it. That's the kind of old school guy he is. And if it is just a work and he's not really working for Impact or whatever, then it's still going to be the same thing because it's content, it's television, it's something they can do. So whether it's a shoot or not.
Was he still doing New Japan before the COVID and stuff, all that happened while he was still working at Impact? Or did he quit once he was kind of announced as going over to Impact? He quit doing the...
Yeah, he hasn't done it for a long time. I think it's about that same time. Now, the Slammiversary commercial Future Endeavors 1 year ago, right? That's like... They wanted to show some footage and some of those things of Samoa Joe, but they went ahead and snapped him right back up, or Triple H did, because he's not a moron that would let go of an asset like that.
No, they're already using him great. I love the way they're using him already. Don't provoke Joe.
Yeah. So that's going to take him off the table. I definitely don't think it's because anybody was worried that he would show up at Impact. I think it's just that in that instance. It's just them like, hey, if you don't want to use this guy, I'm going to use him, just like Moro, when he brought Moro Ranallo back. So So that's Samoa Joe's off the table, but there's plenty more people that could show up. You never know who. Or it could be nobody. They'll probably have at least one person, though.
Chelsea Green. Yeah, they better bring... They could have Laurel Van Ness come back. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, why not? I mean... Isn't she's with what's his name, right?
Well, there's rumors
Cardona?
that she might not be, that she might have cheated on Matt Cardona. Rumors.
Oh, no.
There's rumors.
Oh no.
Rumors.
Not in wrestling.
No. Oh my gosh.
Are you telling me a wrestling couple might not make it, Colin?
No, they always make it. China and Triple H are still together in my heart.
Do you think he like he even went and took her on a carriage ride through Central Park and let her feed the horse?
No, because he's too busy spending all that money on action figures.
He has a lot of money. I think he could. I would imagine him
he buys horse and carriage rides for his action figures and not Chelsea Green.
He just puts the figures in the carriage and lets it go off. No, he wouldn't do that.
All right,
wouldn't trust him.
Man of Arms, you're gonna have this ride tonight with She-Ra. Have fun.
He's doing his own little fantasy book in there, but yeah.
Can you stop in front of Radio City Music Hall? She-Ra really likes it in front of Radio City Music Hall, and he slips like an extra 20 in the coach driver's jacket.
Yeah, man, that guy's well, he's
Well, we didn't say she cheated. There's rumors, allegedly. There's rumors out there. I don't know how widely reported that is. I could be wrong. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Always.
Yeah, always. Take everything you hear. Take everything everyone says with a grain of salt. You don't know.
I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I've been watching a lot of like stock trader YouTubes, and they all lead off with, "This is for for content like entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a person. This is opinion, not fact.
Isn't everything?
I am just a wrestling fan. Take my opinion with a grain of salt." This guy right here is the veteran here. He's the guy that's performed in a ring, been trained by Rip Rogers. He had to smell the packing that came out of Rip Rogers' butt one day, and he no-sold it, ladies and gentlemen, because he's the vet and he's been doing this for thousands of years, well on millions of years. He taught the dinosaurs how to sell, and boy, they've done a really good job. They sold way too well. So way too well.
Don't die.
Oh no! Don't go out there and die, guys. You're supposed to
back.
Pretend. Yeah. Where was your comeback?
Come on, Brontosaurus.
Where's your comeback?
Throw a big
Stegosaurus,
stumpy
you
limb.
totally fucked up the third act of that match there with your storytelling.
Well, he does have a walnut-sized brain, so you can't really fault him too much. But.
Ladies and gentlemen, the vet, let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, they can see it right here on the screen. It's at Opinion Haver, and that will work. If you search for this, you will definitely find some version of me everywhere. So whatever your social media platform of choice is, that's where I am. You don't have to be afraid to follow me because, you know, I'm not going to blow up your timeline with a bunch of stupid shit. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, you know, you saw me on NXT earlier this week. If you missed it, go check that one out. Me and Ben had a rollicking good time, as we always do, as everyone does here with me. I believe on the... I heard, if I overheard them correctly, and I believe I did, I heard the Smack Attack guys saying that they wanted to have, like, maybe a panel of people do the episode whenever the WWE gets back in front of fans, and then they want to do like a panel show and discussion, and my name was thrown out there, and just saying here publicly for the first time that I'd be down to be a part of that. And as for anything else, I don't think I have anything. I think I'm good. What about you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Colin Weissong. You can find me on Facebook at Colin Weissong. You can find me on Instagram at Colin Weissong. I'm doing the Opinion Haver. I'm stealing the gimmick. I'm gonna get at Colin Weissong everywhere.
Get it. I'm sure it's available
because I'm the one and only. And that's nice. That's nice. Also, the A Show. Check out the A Show. We've got some new episodes coming out. We just had a live show where April and Aaron had a lot of fun together. We had Amazon Steph on the show. Now, if you go to twitch.com/the A Show, you can still check out the live show. You can also go to the YouTube channel of the A Show. I think it's like _ the A Show, something like that when you have to search it, or just search the A Show all together. It'll pop up. We still have that show if you go under some of the live. We have some free episodes, free clips, some current episodes I left up there for live that I haven't taken down just yet. And go check that stuff out. April and Aaron are awesome. Aaron had a sword during the broadcast. Like he just pulled a sword out of nowhere. And his cosplay for the day was Florida Man. So he just put some sunglasses on and like a deer hunter's hat. April was dressed up like Poison Ivy, and of course Amazon Steph was dressed as Wonder Woman, as you would if you were an Amazon, if you called yourself Amazon Steph. I was dressed like a producer.
somehow an Amazon, even though she's Greek.
Yeah. Is she Greek? Amazon Stephanie's Greek?
No, Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, I was about to say, what's going on here? She knows GGP too?
Perhaps.
Maybe. She does some really cool stuff too. She does a Venomized Black Cat. She was telling me I should check out the Black Cat comic because apparently Black Cat is getting the Infinity Stones.
What?
That's a part of the storyline is in the comic books that Black Cat is working on like getting an Infinity Gauntlet because she has stolen all the Infinity Stones. So there's that. You don't seem very impressed, Vet. You're just like, I'm gonna go watch.
I mean, look, dude, they've done everything else, so I guess this is just the next thing they have to do.
Well, look, when I saw on the Marvel game that I play, like they have the loading screens. They introduced Squirrel Girl into the game, and she's a healer character. She kind of rounds out the Young Avengers team. She's not really all that useful, but in one of the mid cards, they like the loading cards. They talk about how she has defeated some of the Cosmic's toughest enemies, like Thanos and some of these other people. Yeah, and I'm just like, how she beat Thanos? like it took the Avengers all of that to beat Thanos, and here it is, like Squirrel Girl's just like, oh yeah, here she's like the land Aquaman, and she can beat Thanos. The Aquaman's not beating Darkseid.
Well, it's I mean, when they do that stuff, it's like kind of a rib.
Yeah,
but
it's, why do we have to
I don't even know if that's an official continuity, or if it's in like one of the what ifs or the things like that. But yeah, they have Squirrel Girl do funny stuff like that sometimes. It's like I said, this is just a rib for the writers and stuff to goof around with. So that's one of the things they like to do.
Loki, apparently we have to check out Loki. I've heard good things about Loki. I definitely want to check it out. I like him as a character in the universe and all the different things that he can do. But show. Other than that, I don't really have anything else, Vet, to put over. You guys can catch us next week. Same Bat channel, same Moose channel, same Moose time here at the Hameen Media YouTube channel, and over on patreon.com/Hameen Media Group, and soon to be part of the Realm Network under the free shows. You'll have to pay to get stuff like the Friday Locker Room, and once they're behind the paywall, they can't get taken off of YouTube like they did this past week.
Right.
Got anything else to add to the show?
Moose, 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 moose.
Goodbye, mwah, and good night.
Oh my God, it's so great.
Bang! Yes!